Welcome back to the Crush the Rush podcast. I am recording our January 2025 very first episode on a chilly December morning. And I have to admit, I'm feeling a bit unconventional because instead of diving headfirst into a New Year's resolution frenzy, I'm really working on embracing the quiet moments and slowing down. So this year, I'm challenging the traditional January 1st restart and prioritizing rest, reflection, and intentional planning. Because let's be honest, rushing into the new year without taking a moment to breathe can lead to a lot of chaos and overwhelm. So, inside this episode, we're going to discuss the importance of slowing down, setting realistic goals, and creating a sustainable business model. And I'll share the strategies of what I'm doing even in the slower winter months. So grab a cozy blanket, a warm drink, and let's dive in. Welcome to the very first episode of 2025. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's 2025. And it's crazy to think that this podcast started in 2020. Like it's almost 5 years old, which is crazy. Like, where is the time going? So, as I'm recording this podcast, it is a cold December day. It's super dreary out. I was sitting down. What do I even say? And I'm sharing this because I think this happens to every business owner, to every podcast host at some point. And I do have things to share, but sometimes I get in my head. And I was putting too much pressure on myself about the stupid date. The date matters, but it really doesn't matter because it's like a made up thing. And so I really started going down the path of like, you don't have to have everything figured out on January 1st, right? So marketing and the rest of the world tells us that you do and that you have to have a plan. And if you don't, you're going to fail. But guess what? I haven't finished my vision board yet. To be honest, I've had the same vision board for 2 years. I started another one. I'm not sure I really like it. So it's just sitting there. It's okay. I haven't really picked a word yet. I kind of picked a word in the fall and then I've sort of like leaned into it. I'm not sure if it's like the word that I want and I don't really know what's going to happen with that. And at the time of this recording, or that you're going to be listening to it, my girls and my husband and I are actually getting ready to board a plane to Costa Rica. So when you listen to this, we will be on our way, which is also throwing my brain for like a loop because it's like, well, can you really take a vacation the first week of January? Like, is that okay? And everyone else is starting their new year, right? Like, get to the gym, start the meal plans. Like, I've got this big plan. Like, and we're doing the complete opposite. Like, is that okay? And this kind of goes back to me unraveling myself from my corporate mindset of you can do things that make sense to you and not the rest of the world, and that's okay. So this episode is really dedicated to you and to remind you that it's okay. It's okay if you are feeling inspired and ready to go and you're all in it for this month. It's also okay if you aren't feeling ready and you're not sure of your word and you haven't done your vision board and you don't have your entire business plan for the year. That's okay too. And so last year in our business, I really leaned into seasons. And so today, the season, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, is winter. And for the first time in my adult life, I'm leaning into winter. And I'm going to sort of share why and why I think it's okay that January can be what you want it to be. So fall is one of my favorites. I've talked about that a lot. We are in Ohio. It's gorgeous. The leaves are amazing. It looks like a picture. And statistically, we're also more productive during this season, which I've talked about on the podcast. And Mel Robin did a whole case study on this. And I think just in general, fall is a great season for me. Generally, I'm excited. And so statistically, and from a strategy perspective, we've moved a lot of our launches to the fall and then the spring because it's equally the same because of this. January, on the other hand, is not my favorite season. It is Ohio. It is cold and gray. One of the things that I don't talk about a lot is I lost my dad to cancer, melanoma, when I was 24 in January. And it's just a weird month for me. I know you're supposed to be excited, but I just never have been. And so the other thing that I tried to lean into is, okay, well, we just came out of the holidays. Most of us are tired. We're not meant to be running at 100% because we're starting with an empty battery, right? So I want to make sure before I go in 100% that my battery is charged. And for me, that's not January. If it is you, that's totally okay, but just make sure you're starting from like a full cup, right? So for me personally, it made sense that after the push of the fall and the holidays to take a period of rest. And for me, that means winter, and that means to slow down to get ready for this like spring awakening. Spring can be February. It doesn't have to be April or May. But also, we know that regular rest and relaxation reduces stress levels and improves moods and all the things, but it also improves cognitive function, including memory, attention, and problem-solving skills. So if you're feeling stuck, there is a reason that you hear me say slow down to speed up, because scientifically, it will help you to slow down and do something different. So personally, January is a season of taking a break and slowing down, which is why I felt really awkward and weird coming onto this episode like, let's go, because that's not in the position of where I'm at right now. You don't have to hit all of your goals on January 1st. And for most of us, I don't know, I think most of us, the holidays are a stressful time period. And stress doesn't have to be bad. Stress can be good. It can be a really good season of family and togetherness and other activities that we normally don't do. It could also be an intense period of stress, right? It's different for everyone. But there's a reason that most people don't stick to their New Year's resolutions, and that's because you aren't meant to. You're meant to have a period of recovery after this like full-on sprint. And so what I have done finally after almost, 3 years outside of corporate is I took some time off. So I took the last 3 weeks of December off and the first 2 weeks of January. Most things in our business are scheduled and planned, so it kind of just runs as usual. But that is really that like life priorities business model coming to life. And, I feel awkward and weird boarding a plane when the rest of the world is going 110%. But energetically, that's where I needed to be. And so I talk a lot about running your business around what your life priorities are. And my life priorities is I want to be present and feel good about where I'm at and what I'm doing currently. And you can't do that from an empty cup. So I poured out a lot of energy in the fall and the holiday season, and now I'm recharging. So my advice to you is let's think about, do you need to recharge or are you ready to go? That's going to tell you what season you're in. But for me, come spring, and that's most likely end of February, I'll be ready to go. And strategically, I know that this time period is going to give me some more ideas, some better ideas. And I'm excited to have that take off as well. And I share this because, one, I think it's important to know that not everyone has to be 110% on January 1st. It's okay if you're not. I'm giving you permission. But two, what would it look like if you leaned into what you really needed? What do you really need in the next 90 days? What do you really want to do in the next 90 days? And then designed your business around that. So this is just a permission slip to maybe think about January a little bit differently this year. During the last couple of weeks, the things that I have focused on are slowing down to speed up. So really doing what I call a look back analysis. We teach this in our Crush the Rush Club planning party every single month, and really thinking about what happened that we like, what happened that we want to do again, and what happened that helped us so that we can repeat the good things. I really, really intentionally thought about what we want to do as a family in 2025, and then worked backwards to plan Q1. So I'm really trying to dial in this 90-day focus and get really detailed 90 days at a time so that I know kind of what's going on in the summer, but it's not like I have this detailed plan because things change. And maybe I'll feel inspired, maybe I won't, but I'm not stressed about not having it all planned out right now. We have worked on blocking out some big milestones, right? For the year, what are some really big milestones that we're looking out for? Really thinking about personal goals, really, really thinking about personal goals. I don't know, I'm about to turn 46 and I feel like it's time. It's time to just be all in on me, and I'm okay with that. And honestly, just incorporating some more fun, right? Fun always inspires my best ideas. So I share this as we all have seasons of busy and slowness, but this winter, this January, I am going with the flow of the season. Like I'm going with the flow and the intentionality around nature. So that looks like for me taking a vacation. I just drank some hot chocolate before this by the fire as I wrote this episode. That felt really good. Sleeping a little bit more. The sun doesn't come up for a while here. So like leaning into that and recharging for a minute. So January 1st doesn't have to be a deadline unless you want it to be. And so if you need permission to run your year different, it's okay because you know what is best for you. So I'm super curious. I would love to hear, what does your January look like? How are you feeling about going into 2025? And if you want to peek on how we plan every quarter and every month, you can join us inside the Crush the Rush Club. It's hollymariehaynes.com/club. We have so much going on, and we do the whole look back analysis and make sure that you have periods of rest and periods of sprinting so that you can build that life priorities based business model. So happy New Year officially for 2025. And I'm so excited for what this season is going to bring.